This channel is supported by TrueFire. TrueFire is an online library
enough, you can get the TrueFire All Access Pass for as cheap as they ever do it, the $99 thing, so just jump and do that if you're looking for... I'm sure most of you are going to be familiar with Adam Levy, but Adam's a player who I've checked out a bunch of his playing. Obviously, I've had to play tunes that he's played on, like, as a guy, you know, if you're playing pop kind of soul-y duos, you happen to Norah Jones stuff pops up from time to time, and Adam toured with Norah for, you know, I think decades. Anyway, he was on that pedal show. Now, I was looking for some kind of information around Adam's pedal board, and what I actually found was something much more useful, I think. And essentially, at this point in that pedal show, they asked him, what's like the most common thing that you like come up against with guitarists that come to you as a student? And it's something incredibly simple that might sound easier than it actually is. And so what he says was, can you play Happy Birthday? And he asked Dan to play it in C. And so Dan ends up down here. And what he says is, if you can't do that, I mean, didn't do the chord bit, but if you can't play like the melody of Happy Birthday, stop whatever you're practicing. I think it's pretty strong advice. It's like we spend so much time thinking and talking about playing melodically, but if you're not able to connect the melody that you hear in your head with what's happening with your fingers, then that's something that we want to work on. And this is what Adam calls ear training. And I think it's sort of tied to melodic playing. I think it's tied to ear training. I think it's tied to being able to play with instinct. I think it's tied to improvisation as well. I feel like this is something I could definitely work on more, but I feel like it's something that I can do instinctively quite well. It's also something I could do a little bit of if I like add chords as well. But it's such a simple idea, and I wanted to get into that in this kind of video because I think it's worth talking about. And another thing, so I was just playing over like the chords to Don't Know Why, or chords around that, but playing it in the wrong key. One thing that he says, if you've figured out you can play Happy Birthday down here, what about other places on the neck? Now, the real point about this is that this is kind of pretty much divorced from any real thinking. And I think this is one of the things that it's spoken about a little bit less because it's not that easy to sell a course on this kind of thing, right? We can talk about caged all we want, and we can talk about licks that you need to learn. I'm totally guilty of that. But when it comes down to like how you can become a more instinctive player, someone who's more confident picking up the guitar without necessarily knowing what you're going to play, or knowing ahead of time how it would be that you would play something, how you can get from, I think, this stage that obviously we all start at, where it's like this looks like a mystery, to being something where we can sort of pull out of the air. And this is something when you look at like a master like Julian Lage or players like that I really am inspired by, where you go, well, it looks like they already knew what was going to happen, even though in some cases, you know, Julian Lage has particularly said part of what he loves about guitar is that he doesn't necessarily know what's going to come out as he's playing it. So what about, can you play Happy Birthday in the key of C? Okay, well, that's one thing. Can you play it in the key of something different, like, I don't know, just try something hard and far away, like A flat? Now, another little bit of story time here. The very first time that Elodie has ever said that anything sounded nice was the other morning. So I set up a piano for her in the living room. She's 2.5, maybe a little older than that now, you know, just around 2.5, a little bit. I said to her, can I play you Twinkle Twinkle Little Star? And I played like a little version, kind of improvised on it, but it was the first time that Elodie has ever said, oh, that was nice, Daddy.
Look, I'm bouncing.
Very clever.
And it's something that's kind of, you think about stuff that's simple to play or familiar. I think this is kind of the key part that we tend to end up missing, because I certainly as a kid, you know, or you hear about people that have had guitar lessons and stuff, and they say it wasn't really the stuff that I wanted to learn, so I kind of lost interest. But it's these kind of things which are like, I don't know, Yankee Doodle and things like that. Right, so let's just try it. Really simple little melodies, like I think the reason that they were in guitar lessons is because these were written by folks that had got, I think, maybe to be a little bit older, and then realised that this is the sort of stuff that is really quite useful to have a handle of, because it's like, well, if you can play simple melody, that is like half of the battle, and maybe more. Like if you think of something like Danny Boy. Things like this that you can just play if you just have a guitar, and you know, practice this sort of thing enough. Like, just practice pulling things out of the air that you've heard that someone else might be able to recognize. I think it's quite a fun thing to try doing, and it is like the essence of music. Now, you don't have to know tons of stuff to get your head around this. Like, if you know the major scale, that's about the theory that you kind of need to know, because most things are going to be around the major scale. And you know, if you can reliably do this sort of thing, then your ear is going to, I think, pick up like the rest of the gaps. So just take anything. Whatever the things are, like good melodies, you should be able to do this stuff with. And I think it absolutely helps to create a more musical you And yeah, this is one of the things that Adam was talking about, like getting away from being sort of disconnected from your playing and being totally pattern based. I think this is the route to getting there. It's like, well, now I'm not just learning patterns. This is on me. Like, can I hear a melody that I've maybe never played before and start to map it on guitar? Like, the more you do this, the more you can start to do it in real time. You know, and whatever it is, like, this is not going to sound perfect all the time. Like, this is stuff where you're going to go and you're going to make mistakes, and that's fine. Like, it's about your instincts and get a bit more of this kind of instinct-based, like, head-hand connection. You're not necessarily thinking about note names. You're not thinking about much at all other than maybe like, what is your framework? Like, what key am I in? That is pretty important, like, that you've identified, okay, I'm in A major. So see, like, this is on the edge of whatever I can do. But it's such a, like, I think it's like the essence of music that we're kind of getting to here. And yeah, if you can play something and someone else recognizes what you're playing, that's, I think, the closest you can get to actually communicating something. And this is, I think, part of why in some cases, like, jazz to some degree just sounds like nothing to so many people, is because it's like, well, I can't hear what it's connected to. Yeah, so I don't know, this is, to me, one of those things that any guitarist, whatever genre you're in, this is going to make you a better guitar player the more you do of it, in my opinion. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Is this something you try to do? Take any melody, try and play it on guitar. I think it will make you a better player. I could be wrong. Cheers for stopping by.